Hey, everybody out there, this is Keith Roberson, and you are listening to Thank God for the Group Chat. Today with me, I have Victoria. I'm refraining from saying your last name, Wilson. And
Said it last week, I'll say it again. Thank God there are millions of me.
No, there's only one you, okay?
Millions of, my name is very common. That's what I'll say.
Yo,
So it don't matter.
I'll talk about it later, but there's mad me's too. Mad me's.
I got a couple of me's too.
Daryl Gates? Daryl Gates is?
Yeah, I have like 3 cousins named Daryl Gates in the life.
They ran out of names. They were like, just
one spelled with 1 R.
Okay.
Yeah, so it was a little unique.
Is the other one is it like spelled with 3 R's to differentiate?
No, it's just the same thing.
All right. We also have Daryl Gates in the building, aka Side One. I will introduce him because you guys don't know who he is, but he is definitely a friend of the show. We played his music quite a few times on this show. Great brother in the Lord. Daryl is a producer, songwriter, worship leader, youth pastor, deacon, etc. Like whatever you need him to be for the Lord, that's what he is. And so welcome. Thank you so much. It's an honor to have everybody that comes on this show come on this show, but I appreciate you, man, for being here, man. Thank you.
I'm honored, man. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem. Felt like the subject matter needed someone like you today. So really glad to have you here. So like we do always at this time, how are you guys feeling? What did you guys do this past weekend?
I'm better. I'm okay. Better than last week. Last week was a hot mess, but
I felt like it was.
Yeah, so I'm doing better. This weekend, I did a socially distanced picnic for one of my good friends' birthdays. And then Sunday, I was like at West End Park for what?
What does a socially distanced picnic look like?
You're like outside. Everybody's appropriately spaced apart on their own little islands, basically.
Like you just further apart, like you 6 feet away and stuff, and
6 to 10 feet. But yeah.
How closely did you guys follow these guidelines?
Pretty closely. We all had our own blankets. So
I feel like you have very like-minded friends that don't play games.
I do, which is why I'm okay with. There's like a very select group of people that I'm okay seeing.
I feel like you think you a free spirit, but like you're mad, no nonsense.
I don't think I'm a free spirit at all. Like what?
Everybody wants to be a free spirit. I love it though. You owning it. You're like,
yeah, I was like, no, I'm not loosey goosey. No.
Very rigid in my.
This is how it needs to be done. Okay.
Context. I love it because I wonder if Victoria thinks that she's like super free. No. Okay.
No, I don't. I like planning and organization. So
okay.
But yeah, so all my friends know, like, if we're hanging out, like, not like we're not playing around.
Right.
But yeah, so I did that. And then Sunday, I was telling you a few weeks ago how I was getting involved with like this grassroots organization to do some events for like healing and restoration specifically for Black women. So the first one of those was yesterday. I didn't participate. I was like on the other side of the park, but I helped like with the setup, but it was really beautiful though. Like there was like yoga, there was meditation. We did some political education. And then there were also just like some discussions around just like self-care and like making sure to like, you know, put yourself first in a lot of what's going on right now so that we can continue to be present in a very long, fight. But yeah, so the hope is to do those monthly now. But it was beautiful to watch. And then I came home and was in the bed. So
What park was this?
West End Park.
Trying to picture West End Park. Is the park right across the like by the Wendy's?
It's not far off from the Wendy's. No, like you take
right by the cemetery.
I don't know if it's. I feel like cemetery. It is close to a cemetery.
The funeral home.
I don't know, but it's like right when you get off the exit for Ralph David Abernathy, and instead of turning right, you can go like kind of like jut straight across. It's literally right there.
Right.
But yeah, it was. I'm done, Jared.
Shout out,
Jared. Why, bro? What is going on?
J. Paul Sings has entered the group chat. Jay, what's up, man? Can you hear us? I don't think he can hear us yet. Daryl, what's going on, man? Oh yeah, his audio's connected. Daryl, what's up? How was your weekend?
My weekend was good. Saturday, I had I'm sorry, go ahead, Jay. Are you good?
My bad. Go ahead.
Jay, what's up?
So
what's up?
Me,
all right, he just being rude. Hello, Jared. You can talk. He gave me
okay.
Time. He ain't say anything. How you
what
doing?
Up, man?
What's up, man? Where you headed to?
Man, I just left this shop. I was looking for a shop to film some stuff in. I'm headed to the house.
Awesome. So, I don't know if you guys ever met, but I know you guys have exchanged music and like conversation and stuff like that. So officially, side one. This is J. Paul Sings. J. Paul Sings, side one, aka
What's up?
Daryl Gates.
What up?
So Daryl,
I'm a fan, bro.
What did he say?
He said he was a fan.
Appreciate it, my G.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So Daryl, what's up? How was your weekend?
Yeah, so my weekend was good. Saturday we had our baby shower for our baby boy that we were having.
Congratulations, officially
good.
On the podcast.
Yes, sir. It was interesting the day of, because it was supposed to be like 50% chance of rain, and then so like I was praying, my wife's praying, mom was praying, everybody's praying for God to hold back the rain.
Yeah.
So we can have this outside, and it ended up working good. It drizzled like for a good like 2 minutes, and then it was shade for the rest of the day. So
those pictures,
we had a great time,
bright.
great turnout. A lot of people came by. Yeah. So I'll put the official pictures up later on once I get them. But
explain what a drive-by baby shower looks like.
Yeah, so
I don't know if
I didn't know it was gonna be like until I was there. So drive-by baby shower or drive-by a baby pull-up. I don't know, but we were there outside, and what it was, we had like a staff, I guess you could say, and people would drive, like they had the lines of cars coming in, and then once one car goes by, they drop off the gift to the staff, and then they bring it to us. They wave, take pictures if they have to, and then keep it moving so everybody can go. But they didn't know that they can, like, some people who we've been around, they didn't know that they can stay. Like, once they drove around, they could stay. They like get closer pictures if they wanted to. A lot of people came down from up north, and then like they stayed for a good like 10 minutes. I'm like, you guys could have hung out. You drove 40 minutes to be here for 10 minutes. So I'm like, you could have hung out with us for a little bit. But it was good.
Yeah. So, Jay, how was your weekend, man? Before we get into these topics.
Man, it was straight. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had we mowed the lawn yesterday, and my next door neighbor's birthday party was on Saturday, so we just went over there and hung out. It was real low key. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that was it.
Dope, man. I want to shout out everybody listening to us, sitting at home, everybody listening to us that still has to go to work. Just shout out. Thank you guys for being here with us today. So I do have a couple UFRs, and one is a little bit more in depth. I want to officially say her name because I know that I didn't get it right last week. Vanessa Guillen. And are there any updates on that situation?
I don't have any.
No updates?
No.
Okay. So again, Vanessa was a young lady who was in the armed forces that was sexually assaulted and ultimately murdered. And we are just now finding out about this. And it's been going on for a while. And they found her, and then they wound up finding other people buried in the same place that she was buried in. And it's just utterly ridiculous. More on that at another time as it develops. Also, UFR, last week we talked about, on a little bit of a lighter note, we talked about if you just joined us within the past year or so, or within the past 2 years, you might not have heard an episode where Jared where Jared brought up this idea of potential bestiality in the Garden of Eden.
No, explain it. Keep going.
Keep going.
Keep going.
No, that's it. That's the recap.
No, it ain't.
That's it.
Victoria makes jokes about it from time to time.
Hilarious.
We all bring it. I try not to talk about it because we are not our past offenses, But I want to have like a little court, wholesome court right here, and we deal with it right now and get it off the table, so never to be dealt with or spoken of ever again.
Right.
Okay. So I listened to the episode a couple of days ago. I sped up to the part. I sped up to the part where it took place. We were originally talking about, do we believe in the one? Like, is there such thing as a one for, relationship wise? Victoria originally said no. Lon said no. Jared said no. And upon Jared saying no, to further his point, he brought up the Garden of Eden, and he was saying that Adam, that could have been the first sin, is what you said. Right. You said there has be. I think you started changing your answer to like from no to a yes.
Maybe. I can't remember.
Maybe because you were saying it could have been the first sin because Adam could have instead
he could have chosen like one of the animals.
Yes, before, and I was like, and it shifted because I was like, nah, because they didn't know sin until up until that point they were perfect. Right. And so he wouldn't have known sin. And so that's how, like, I think it got mixed up in that conversation. Like, right. You were trying to prove 2 points at one time.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then all we got from it was, dag, Jared doesn't. Jared a nasty. Jared a nasty dude.
Oh my God! Heck no.
Yeah, so I just want to, if you have any final words before I vindicate you from these charges.
When we talked about it last week, I explained what I was trying to say last week.
So you basically said, please see my previous podcast.
Right.
Okay. Okay.
I ain't gonna say nothing this week because then it might be something else. Oh, this nigga said that you be out here with snakes. I'm like, what? No, I did not say that.
I'll ask Lon to play a clip right around here to know exactly what Jared said. But
yes.
I believe that you are exonerated, sir, from these previous what we thought were offenses. I apologize. I can't speak for Victoria.
Because Victoria's
she's like, I know it.
I gotta go back and listen to the episode for myself.
Victoria trick ass.
I mean, I still love you. I feel like that's the most important thing here.
Whatever, man.
I still love you immensely.
No, you don't.
But I need to go back and listen to it for myself.
You want me to be out here preaching the wrong stuff?
I don't. That's why I keep trying to be like, don't talk no more. Let it go.
I was when I first heard y'all like, wait till Tony Evans get a load of this.
Get a load of this. Now I know I ain't never teach him none of that.
So although that might have been the first, well, that wasn't the first sin, but although eating from the tree was the first sin, it most definitely is not the last sin. It was the sin that begat all of these sins that we have encountered, and to use Will Smith's word, transgressed with leading up till now. So so Jada Pinkett, as we talked about last week, indulged in a relationship with August Alsina for quite some time. And
no, she didn't. She was entangled.
An entanglement.
An entanglement, which is the correct word to use.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if you look up the definition, having a complicated relationship is one of the definitions of entanglement.
Mm.
I saw a meme that said T.I. is upset that she used the word before he did.
Right. Well, I saw another meme that had Will Smith on one side and it said entanglement, and then it had Ike Turner from the movie and it said enstranglement. I was like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this.
No. Lord.
Oh.
Did you guys read the or did you watch the Red Table Talk?
Yeah.
What are y'all thoughts?
They weird. That's my thoughts.
Yeah.
Like I understand.
Agree.
I understand bad marriage for life. Like, I mean, okay, cool. Like everybody's gonna have
you need to say
nobody's marriage is gonna be perfect. But
that's what you got from that.
What?
That's such a glass half full outlook on that saying. I ain't mad at the way that you thought about that.
Right. But I'm just like, come on, man. Like y'all don't sit here and knuckle bump each other, fist bump each other. Talking about some bad marriage for life.
That was the corniest thing in life.
Right.
All bad.
It's definitely scripted.
I cringed when they said that.
It was very cringeworthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Anybody else?
For me, I didn't like I was on a computer and my wife she played it in the background and I was like bad like when you said the bad marriage from life, I'm like I get that you're married for like through thick and thin and like for better or for worse, you know. So I do get that. Plus it was like they've been married for 20 plus years. So I'm like, you know, at that point for me, I'm like, where are you going? You know what I mean? Like it's like I get, you know, like and it's like you gotta really hold to those vows, you know, that and plus like for them it looks like it's more of a partnership, like a lifelong partnership. You know, they have a business together, they got kids who are in the business, so it's like they're looking at it from like a wholesome like partnership. So there's like, you know, we her L was like, you know, we took one together as a team. We all took that L, you know. It's like now we build from that. So I kind of get it from that perspective as well. But it was just interesting. I'm like, these guys are weird. I love
not weird.
Individuals. I love them, but they're weird.
I agree with that point of like, I feel like at this point it very much is more of like a partnership / business arrangement. But I was telling some of my friends, I was like, I also feel like just from like some of the other interviews that I've seen Will Smith do, I feel like he is definitely someone who like takes his, to a certain extent, takes his vows very seriously in the sense of like, we're in this, like we're going to stay in this because we made this vow, and like no matter what, like it's not ending. Because I remember another Red Table Talk, he was talking about like his ex-wife and how he had met Jada when they were still married, and divorce wasn't even something he would or was considering with his ex because of the fact that like he was like, well, we were married, we made this commitment to each other, so I was just going like we were just going to ride it out until the end. And so I feel like Will is definitely, I think that's a big part of this, and then it also being just like a business partnership at this point. But another thing I gathered was like, I mean, I gathered personally like both of them were doing some things. But Jada just unfortunately picked someone who was in a very fragile state and that backfired. So it really came down to like, I mean, for lack of a better term, like Will just chose the right people to be involved with and
had the right contract.
Exactly. He had some NDAs, I'm sure.
Got some NDAs going off.
But then August, like that was just it's like, sis, you chose wrong.
He was like, I got enough money to get past whatever lawsuit is coming my way.
It's a mess, but
yeah. Man, I'm not surprised by any of it. You know, they've been hinting, yo, Jaden, what up? What's going on, guy?
Baby Jay. Look at them cheeks.
Yeah.
Little Jaden has entered the podcast.
His face. So cute.
I'm not surprised by anything that that has taken place. They've hinted at for years about having an open marriage. Again, I don't know if I said this, but I know people that know them, and they, you know, they'll be at clubs and stuff, and they'll say, look, they come back with somebody else and they say, look, I got this person, they ready to do this, you ready to go, da 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 da. Jada has had girlfriends, Jada has had boyfriends, Will has had different people. People forget about the Eva Mendes situation. People forget about the Margot Robbie situation. I'm like, that was weird. Like, you out with Margot Robbie quite a lot. Y'all have done like 3 movies back to back together. What is this about? And so,
Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I'm not necessarily surprised by any of it. It's like, it's stuff that we've known for years. It's things that they've hinted at on the Red Table Talk for quite a while. Like when, like Jared said last week, like you gonna be over here and I'll be over here, and her mom was like, I've always thought that was weird. I'm like, there it is, y'all. I said that when it was happening. I'm like, now we know, you know. So, but that, you know, so that part isn't surprising to us, so we can move past that. My question is, as a group of believers, you know, a group of, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4 of us, we are Christians, and I believe, well, Jared is married, Lana is married, Daryl is married, Victoria aspires to be married at some point in life. She said not right now, but she does have desires to be married. What does it look like to be married in 2020 as a believer? Or what should it look like to be married? That's the better question, because we know what it looks like. But what should it look like?
Yeah, I think for me, it's been more like transparency with one another, but also for, you know, because I look at marriage as like, you know, as Christ in the church. So it's like we're a representation of Christ together. You know, now we're unified. So everything that we do, it's an example of Christ in the church. And so by our lifestyle, the things that we do, the things that we post on social media for people to see, it's like, is it reflecting God, you know, in a certain way? And it's like, you know, and it's like you're still being who you are. You're still showing your personality and stuff. At the end of the day, like, you know, I want our relationship to have people aspire to be like, man, like, I want that, you know, I want a godly marriage. I want to have a wholesome, you know, like a godly marriage for people to see and to really draw closer to God by seeing that, you know, and that there's love, and that there is, you know, and thinking about it is like, nobody's perfect. You know, we're not perfect. We're still human, you know, but it's like we recognize that, you know, we're going to use this time that we have together to be intentional, you know, for the way that people see us, or the way that we carry ourselves around people. You know, it's just, yeah, that's just how I see it. Just transparency, and more so like being an example of a godly marriage to the best that we can. You know, we're not perfect, but we're trying to be an example.
What's a godly marriage?
I would say marriage that is God-centered.
This dude.
What is
that we that that background lit though. I just
No, man. Okay. There we go. We can see you. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you're good. So I look at it as a marriage, just like our direction and our plans, how we base our life. You know, it's from that point of view, like as far as like, you know, even wanting to the point of us having kids, like consult like, all right, God, like we would like to have a kid around this time, but whatever your will is for us, you know, like what do you want us to do as far as ministry wise? And then being that we wanted a kid earlier, it didn't happen, but God had us involved in ministry more. And so in that, it taught us a lot. It taught us discipline. It taught us how to serve kids, to do certain things. So I feel like God was using that process to groom us into being parents, you know. And so I think that now is the right time for us, that He placed us at the right time to have a kid, so that we can show that same discipline and, you know, the train up a child in the way they should go, so in all the ways they won't depart, into our household. And then from that generation to the next, you know, leaving an example, like, you know, just God-centered, and everything that we do, try to go to God first before we make our decisions. You know,
as Victoria, as a budding, as a person that has parents that are married still. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that you've seen two people be married. I don't know your family dynamic or anything like that, but you can speak to this, you know. So what are your thoughts on it? Like in 2020 and going forward, as we live this life and as things change and as people change around us, like, should we keep the same standards that we've had? You know what I mean? Or should we, like, what can be malleable in a relationship, and what has to remain the same for the believer?
I mean, I learned very early on within my parents' marriage that communication is paramount. And so because of that, like, that's something that I actively and aggressively work on a lot with myself and my current relationships, because I see how crucial that is, and like a cornerstone for a successful marriage. I think another thing that, I don't know, I sometimes feel like I've noticed that a lot of the times social norms get mixed up with like belief systems. And so with that, I mean, in terms of like the malleable, like what should be adapted, like what are things that we can work on and change? I think in terms of like gender roles in like the traditional sense of like, you know, the woman stays home, she's a stay-at-home mom, the dad is the financial provider. I think that there is a need to expand the way that we define what a provider is. Because, I mean, you can have someone who provides financially, but if they're not providing emotionally, spiritually, like there's a full spectrum in my mind at this point of what providing looks like. And there's some that may be more important in a certain relationship dynamic than they are in others. I mean, for me personally, looking at my trajectory right now, financially, generally, like, I'm actually okay. Like, that's not really why I'm looking to be married. And I know.
I'm okay. Okay.
No, and that's not to say, like, I don't want you to bring something to the table. Like, I'm not with, but I'm saying, like, and there are like even like sociology books that I've read, a lot of women got married because like it was their way to, it was like their get out of jail free card. Like, it was like the way that they were able to like leave their parents home and like
Or
go
get
off
into
and
jail
live this
free
life.
card.
But then it's just like, but then they just get back right into a very similar situation of like, they're not allowed to work, or they shouldn't work, or they're not encouraged to work. And the man is handling all of this. And so, I don't know, all of this to say, there are a lot of ways to be provided for or to provide for your family. And I think that that's something that should be heavily considered. And then I think like, as much as like, I believe love is a choice. And as much as you should continuously choose your partner, I do think that there is space to celebrate and acknowledge individual growth. I think there's always this concept of marriage that like, y'all do everything the same way together, like you don't have your individuality. And I recognize for me, that's something that's really important. Like, I don't want to feel like I have to morph or like stifle parts of myself for the sake of like forcing a relationship to fit. Because I'm seeking this person to provide something for me that I haven't been able to find, and this feels like a way out. So I definitely want a relationship where like we're definitely growing together, but still celebrating our individuality and our individual growth, because people, you don't stop growing. People are always evolving. And I think in a marriage, it's like respecting that. Like, you don't have to love it, but respect it and being adaptable to that. And then I think the last thing is just, and this is something I feel like I see in a lot of like current relationships, it's just, somebody said on Instagram the other day, and I was like, that makes a ton of sense. But they were like, basically like, do you want to be right or do you want relationship? And that really comes down to like, not everything is like, not everything needs to be like this huge blowout discussion. Like, what is more important? Essentially comes down like, what's more important, your relationship and being one with this person, or your pride? So I think that's just another thing to always just be mindful of, because I feel like we're all very, especially millennials, we're very individualized. We're like, go get, like, we want to make all these things happen for ourselves. And like, we always want to be like, there's this tendency to want to be right. But at the end of the day, in terms of like a godly marriage and a godly relationship, it's like understanding what's more important to you. Is it the relationship, or is it you being right for the sake of your pride and your ego?
That's
Thank
good.
you. That is good.
It was all right.
Yeah.
Bruh. Looking like you in a nightclub.
You know what I'm saying? Okay.
They coming, y'all. They coming. They coming. Don't leave. They say they 10 minutes away. Jay, what are your thoughts? I mean, you married. Perspective. What does it look like? And I know you guys, I feel I could say this because you guys have been very vocal about you guys' marriage and things of that nature. You post some things sometimes that I'm like, oh wow, this isn't what I think Jared's gonna get in trouble for this. So like, as a believer, what should it look like? What should marriage look like?
Oh, man.
And thank you, Victoria, for answering my compound question. I feel like you hit all my points. Go ahead.
Don't get married. That's all I got. No, I'm just playing. So
that's what Paul said. That's what Paul said.
Well,
that's real. That's a fair perspective.
But I feel like Paul also was like, man, I got too much stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? He already knew where he was. Like, yeah, I don't know. I feel like that was just Paul's. That was his calling. I think it takes a special person to say, I don't need anybody. Or, you know what I'm saying? I don't need to be married. I don't need companionship. You know what I'm saying? I think that takes a special person.
Yeah.
But so based off of what I saw from my parents growing up, I just saw I literally saw exactly what the Bible said. Like, women, respect your husband, love your wife. You know what I'm saying? And even when it was a my stepdad has to have surgery on his back and he's down for a while. Instead of my mom just making a decision, like let me come to you, let's talk about it real quick, you know what I'm saying, and let's figure this thing out. Like my mom needing to have her, what do you call it, her shocks fixed on her car. And my stepdad's like, man, I love you. I don't trust mechanics and stuff like that. So let me get online and figure out a way to do this myself. You know what I'm saying? Like that was a loving way of saying, man, I want to make sure that you're fully taken care of in all ways. And since I don't fully trust the mechanic to do what they're supposed to do, oil changes and all of that stuff, I've seen and I know that they do things that are wrong sometimes. Let me be loving in how I handle this, even this small of a situation with you. And now, mind you, not everybody is able or willing to do that. You know what I'm saying? But if you have somebody you trust, whatever, then deal with them. But that's how I saw like those things being handled at home. And to the point to where that's how I handle stuff. You know what I'm saying? Something needs to be done around the house. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to cut something up and I'm going to screw it together and bam, it's fixed. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like people always say, man, you have to die to yourself, and, blah, blah, blah. But what does that look like? Like, how does that look for real? Like practically at home. And I feel like that's what it looks like. Like my stepdad didn't know a whole bunch about carpentry and how to build stuff and how to fix on cars and all that stuff. But he was willing to say, man, I don't know how to do it, but I'll go out here and figure it out because I want to make sure that you are fully taken care of. And it's not always just like, it's not, yes, it is spiritual, but it's not always solely spiritual. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and that's, like I said, that was just my example. Those were my examples growing up and from what I saw. And before that, I never saw anything. You know what I'm saying? I only saw my mom handling stuff herself. And when I turned 16, my stepdad came into my life, and that's when, you know what I'm saying, things changed. And, me and Aaron, of course, us being an interracial marriage or relationship, whatever you want to call it, our parents were very similar in that. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's why we get along so much with each other's parents or in-laws or whatever, however you want to call it, whatever you call it. So, they're in-laws, but yeah. So, that's, for me, in short form, that's what a marriage looks like. Like, how are you, yes, die to yourself, be as spiritual as you want to be with that thought and that idea, but how do you show that in your marriage? How do you how does that show up in your marriage every day? And that's something that you got to think about every day. Being quick to apologize and repent for, hey, we just went off on each other. And even if she comes to me first, am I willing to, all right, you're right. Yeah, I did trip out. I did say some crazy stuff. You know what I'm saying? Will you forgive me? And then be willing to say, I'm not going to do that again, no matter how mad or upset I am at you. Just look, you know what I'm saying? Little stuff like that. Like those are the practical dying to self daily things that, you know what I'm saying, I think about when I'm talking about marriage. So.
Very good. Very good. Thank you.
Yep.
Real quick, let's hit these real quick. As believers, if we are separated from our partners, if we're separated, do we have carte blanche to find other relationships, like to occupy our time?
No.
This stuff seems like, to us, it seems like, of course not. But, you got some people that are like, yeah, you know what I mean?
Nah.
And what is the distinction from being a believer in a marriage and not being a believer in a marriage? If, you know what I mean? Like, because to a lot of people, it's just paper that you write on. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I'll say this as a, if you're a non-believer, to me, marriage don't make sense. You know what I mean? To me, in a marriage, it only makes sense if you are a believer. Being married only makes sense if you are a believer, because it's whatever you define it to be. If you're not a believer, You know what I mean? And you just going off of whatever the world says marriage should be. And that's sinking sand. You know what I mean? So there's really nothing keeping y'all together but a piece of paper. You know? So it's like, well, why did we do this? So we could, we get tax deductions and this, that, and the third, or, it's just a piece of paper. Like for the believer, no, it is a covenant.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So yeah, as believers, should we have multiple partners? Sexually? No.
I mean, cause bruh, like I mean, you getting tied up, you know what I'm saying, emotionally. Like that's what sex does. You know what I'm saying? Like it's an emotional tie. And then you getting tied up with somebody, one person emotionally, then let alone a couple different people. That's why, like, when folks, I know friends who have gone away from their Christian morals and values and are now like, I'm whoever they want to be at this point. You know what I'm saying? Whatever and whoever they want to be at this point. And are willing to say that are now going into polygamy is like, we were never meant to be with one person, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. And I'm like, no, bro, like I've seen way too many situations outside of polygamous relationships where people are like, oh, I'm dating two different people, but I got my main chick and I don't care about the other ones. But when you see her out somewhere with another dude, with her cousin, you ready to flip out. You know what I'm saying? Like, that don't make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, that stuff is stupid. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just, that's too much.
You have some women that buy into that, too.
Yeah.
Like, they'll be like, men aren't meant to be monogamous.
Right.
And, so they don't mind being a side chick, or they don't mind being the bottom chick. They don't mind being, oh, well, I'm the third on his roster or whatever it is, because they are of that mindset that men aren't to, it kind of feeds into this thought of women are property, and women are meant to be dudes' toys or whatever it is. And I can imagine how, like what that does psychologically. I can't even imagine what that does.
I mean, yeah, that sounds like that SZA song.
Yeah.
I hate that song.
I do too.
I hate that song. I mean, it sounds good sonically.
It sounds good.
It sounds great, but I hate the words to that song because I'm like, no, man, don't be that.
Don't be that. Don't be the weekend.
Right.
The weekend, yeah.
Let the weekend be the weekend.
Right.
You said you take Monday, Thursday. I was like, what?
Right.
Yeah.
I'll be the weekend.
I am not married. As you all know, Daryl had a baby shower this week on Saturday. We shared that day. I wasn't able to come to his because I was attending my own baby shower. So to those, so for everyone that's been speculating and asking me what's been going on, yes, I will soon be a father. This is the most uncomfortable, second most uncomfortable thing I've ever had to endure. Yeah. I don't know. I would feel better if you guys ask me questions. That's because that's kind of like how I approach this.
Okay.
I keep to myself unless asked about this. You know what I mean? I'll never.
I'm the same way.
Yeah, I'll never deny my child, and I'm very happy. I'm very excited. But and you guys know, all of you guys know, this isn't you guys' first time hearing this.
Yeah.
Which is why I feel comfortable with you guys, and I kind of need you guys in this very moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can do that, that would be great. Just even if it seems dumb to you, even if you feel like you know already, if you can ask me and then I can answer it, that would be amazing.
So number one.
Oh,
go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I love it. I thought everyone was going to be quiet.
I was like, we ready.
You know what I'm saying? Let's dive into it, bro.
Thank you.
No, Jared.
Go, Victoria.
You go.
No, I give up.
Lord.
Go.
Anyways, we're so excited.
Thank you.
Wait, okay, so when is the baby due?
She's due August 2nd, but we she's due August 2nd, but she's not gonna make it to August. She's not gonna make it to August.
Oh,
Yeah, she's already a centimeter dilated.
My God.
Yeah,
Oh my
good.
gosh.
Yeah, she's gonna come
Wow.
this month.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, August 2nd would have been great because August 4th is probably the best day of the year.
Yeah.
For babies to be born.
Right.
But nah, man, we happy for you, bro. Like that was
Thank
what
you.
I was gonna say first off. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate
We happy
it.
for you.
Appreciate it.
How do you feel being a like potential dad? Like, what are some things you like, man, I want to teach. I want to make sure that I want to teach.
Well, first of all, to answer that, I'm super excited that it's a girl. Super excited that it's a girl. I have always wanted to, well, I don't know, like, but I'll say in the past 10 years, I've wanted to raise a young woman that saw what a man was and would be able to go out into this world and know how to be treated and know how to treat other people based off of the example that she saw. And know like, oh, well, this is good touch, this is bad touch in all aspects of life. You know what I'm saying? Based off of not only how my parents raised me, but more specifically how my father raised me and what and the things that he taught me. So number one, raising a young believer, that would be amazing, you know, but that's no guarantee. But I do pray that takes place. So I would love to raise salt and light in the world. You know, the Bible does say, be fruitful and multiply. And like, what are you multiplying from? You multiplying from yourself. And so that's the thing that that's one of the major things that I want to instill. So I'm super excited for that, to be able to do that.
So how have your parents been during this whole process?
They've been, when I first told them, they were super excited. They were super excited. I don't but I realized people show excitement in two different ways, you know? So my mom was like super excited, and she was very like, you know, demonstrative. Like you could see how excited she was. My dad was more so reserved, but I saw how excited he was. And my dad is an orator by trade, you know? So to see him not be able to always have the words to say, let me know how excited he was. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I had a question. I forgot it.
I have another question.
Go ahead.
How is it going to work? Like, how do you plan on, I guess, like co-parenting from where you are, and then where like the distance? How do you?
Lately, that's been very, very hard. That's been the thing that I've been struggling with as of late. None of these things, none of the issues that have been arising have blindsided me. They still hurt as much as I thought that they would, but they haven't blindsided me. And so the plan is to be here for a year, establish myself financially, you know, because, you know, it's a lot of moving around and it's a lot of moving pieces. You want to be able to create some sustainability and some, you know, and some not boundaries. What's the word I'm looking for? Like, you know, it's like a foundation, structure and foundation. I knew it started with an S. And so, I plan on being here for a year, you know, because she's a girl and she's less than 1 year old. So she needs her mother, you know, physically and mentally and emotionally. I get that. And she needs me too. And so after that year is up, I do plan on moving just a little bit closer to be able to make that trip more often and less tiresome.
That's fair.
But you know me, I'm super transparent. whenever I speak. So it started off as a partnership. It started off as something that we had planned on doing together in co-parenting. When I had agreed to it, operative word being agreed to this, and it's no longer that. It's turning into something else. And so now I'm looking into other avenues because to say less, but to say a lot, there's nothing that I won't do for my daughter because of that first question that I answered of being there and being able to raise my child. I need her to know a father's love more than anything, you know.
Yep.
Because how you view your father is indicative of how you're going to view God at first glance, you know. Because when you say father, you think about your father. You think about his absence or his presence or whatever it might be. And when you hear God the Father, of course you're going to equate that with, well, how are fathers and how are fathers towards me? And so that's just one less thing that I want her to struggle with.
Is there a dynamic between like your parents and her parents?
What do you mean?
Like have they met each other? Are they communicating with each other?
They met each other for the first time on Tuesday. COVID-19 is still in effect heavily, so they've met each other for the first time. I think her mother and my mother have spoken at length for a little bit. Yeah. Ask the real questions, y'all. Ask the real questions. We got a couple.
I didn't know if we could go there.
I'm saying go there.
Okay, so how did this come about? Like, how did you reach this point of
Thank you
having a child coming?
I met her when I was 17. We became friends. You know how you become Facebook friends, and it's like, hey man, this person's all right. We became actual friends when we were about 25 years old. Upon that time, she told me that she had a condition called endometriosis. Now, endometriosis is a disease that doesn't necessarily show up, or you don't know that you have it until you're about 25, 26 years old. It causes complications in your everyday life. It is a horrendous experience from what I'm being told, and from what I've heard other people telling me. Another reason for, me being an advocate, I'll say self-proclaimed, but I think I'm documented in this, being a proclaimed advocate for Black women specifically. It is a disease that plagues Black women primarily. Not solely, but primarily Black women. Long story short, the disease punishes you for not being pregnant. So it's not cramps. It's worse than cramps. It is you are having contractions and you're not even pregnant. It's things like that. And you just feel close to death. It's constant pain you're in. Me being her friend, of course, I felt for that. Also, I'm like, okay, are you able to bear children? Da 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 da. And it was like, at a certain point, it was like, I don't know. The doctor says, I don't think so. And then she came up with a timeline. The doctor gave her a time frame in which she was able to have children. And so, I, last year, August 2019, January 2019, I asked her how that process was going and how much time she had left. And by this time, I had been praying about it for years. I had been thinking about it for years, and I had been praying about it for a year. And I asked her how that process was going. She told me that she had about a year or so left, the doctor told her. And I've been praying about it, and so I just blurted it out without even thinking about it. And I said, hey, if if you can't find a better suitor, if you don't think anyone is more suitable than myself, then I wouldn't mind doing it. And so, and doing that as in fathering the child, she came to me months later in August of 2019 and asked me if I still was able to do it and if I still was down to do it. And I told her yes. And so in November of 2019, I drove down to North Carolina and we went to a fertility clinic and we got it done. 2 weeks later, she told me that she was pregnant and that I was going to be a father. So.
Dope.
Yeah.
Here we are.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So for the people out here listening, you know what I'm saying? No, Keith wasn't out here, you know what I'm saying?
That's important. I think that's important. You can't be doing I pray this helps and thank God for the group chats and me posting all this Christian stuff and like, yeah. I mean, you can.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because people jack up, but like I'm not out here living a life of.
Thought you were gonna say something else.
What you thought I was gonna say?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's important to know. Yeah. Holiness is still right.
You know what I'm saying?
Still right.
Nah, I think so. Number one, I definitely feel like because I know you, the intent was, man, let me help my friend.
Yeah.
Then the intent became, I can't have a child not have a father.
They were one and the same.
Okay.
They were one and the same because I want to help my friend. I can't have my friend's kid coming up without a dad.
Right. Straight up.
Mm-hmm.
Straight up. And I think it's like stuff like that being explained to the child will be helpful. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
Like just speaking as a person who was adopted, I know I say it all the time, but knowing certain things helps you not go crazy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like for me, knowing, I'm adopted and never from birth to 20 years old, never meeting either one of my biological people, like always knowing, I'm loved by the family that I have, but why was I giving up?
Mm.
Why didn't y'all want me?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So for the child knowing like, no, this was a situation that your mom was in.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And I also wanted to love you as well. This was not a relationship. This was, you know what I'm saying? So like knowing those things would definitely help. So
absolutely.
Yeah. I can appreciate that.
Absolutely. I've never been, this was never off the table for me ever in life. It was something I had to think through because, for multiple reasons, stuff that I wrestled with, but it was never anything that I ever said that I would never do. I've always been, can't say a proponent, but I've always been open to ideas of alternative means of fathering.
Yeah.
Whether it be through adoption, whether it be through fostering or just, big brothering, whatever it may be. I was always, that was never, this is not beside me,
Yeah. Dope, bro.
One more. I got one more. Give me a heavy one though. Give me a heavy one.
I did the last one.
I appreciated that one. That one needed to be asked.
Right. We was both going at that one at the same time. We was like, all right, cool. You want us to ask you the good question?
Yes.
Right. Needed permission.
You know what I'm saying? So what you got, man?
Let me see. Heavy question. That was a good question. Last one.
Yeah.
Because you broke it down with like the condition that she had. And so, like it's not even a question, but it's more so like, like I like even hearing about it, like when you first told us, like it was just it really was like it captured my heart because it's like not a lot of people would do that. It's like, and it's like we say that we're friends to people, but if your friend is in need like that, it's like, are you willing to do, you know what I mean? Something like that. And so when you said that, I was like, man, like would I be able to do something like that? You know, it's like, it's just like, it shows like true, it's the heart of God. I feel like, you know, it's like, you know, what are you willing to do, you know, for your friends, you know, are you willing to help them? And so it's just, I was encouraged by, just being a believer, I was encouraged by the act of love that you've shown, you know, the example that you've shown. So I'm just,
Praise
a lot
God.
of people wouldn't do that, man. So
Praise
I
God.
just,
Wow.
Keith gonna cry with the podcast.
Yeah, man, the stuff I've been going through lately.
Yeah.
You know, I needed to hear that. And I didn't concoct this podcast or conjure up this podcast to be a therapy session, but I do appreciate, you know, I appreciate it. And I know I needed to get it out there. This isn't like a Drake type of situation. I wasn't to hide in the kid from the world or whatever he was saying.
Yeah.
But certain things are on a need to know basis. You know what I mean? And when people need to know, they need to know. And I didn't want to continue like not, you know, because what I don't want to happen is me telling this story over and over and over. I don't think that's fair to her or to her mother. You know what I mean? And I don't think that's fair. And so I want to say it one time for everyone. I did it in waves. You know, I told the people, I needed to tell the people who I didn't think would judge me first. Then I felt I needed to tell the people who I think would judge me, but you're my friend, so I need to tell you. You know what I mean? And then I told the people who just straight up needed to know. And then I'm like, let me tell the people who I don't mind knowing, but I know it's going to tell other people. So like whatever. Yeah. You know, and so
So when real quick, I'm sorry, when she went back to you in August and she said, "Are you still down like to do it?" Like, was there ever like a slight moment of like hesitation, you know, or like was there any like, you know, maybe did you ever second guess yourself in that moment once she asked you again?
Second guessed it? No. Second guessed it? No. An immediate, for lack of a better term, fright? Yes. I was like, I said I would do. You know me, like if I say I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it. It might take longer than what I said I was going to do it, but I'm going to do it. Yeah. And so she said.
And the fact, my bad.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and the fact that this was, like you said, if you say you're going to do something, it might take you a minute, but you're going to do it. But in this situation, it's like, I don't have that long to think about it.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So it's kind of like, we got to run it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I told her, she said, would you still be down? And I said, I wouldn't have told you that I would do it if I, you know what I mean? If I wasn't going to do it, if I was going to renege on it, you know? Yeah.
I was about to say the dumbest thing in the world. I was about to say, you don't want to be a renegger. Like, you don't want to be...
You don't. Are they canceling Indian Giver? Can you say that still?
Probably not.
Right. Probably not.
That's
been around for so long.
Right. Still have the Indians.
Native Americans, though. I don't know. Nothing.
No, I meant the team. Subsequently, by the way, they're changing their name. They came out with the nickname, which I still haven't heard, but we were like, so what? We don't care about a nickname. Change the mascot in the name of the team. And they was like, all right, fine.
But I heard they was changing their nickname too.
Yeah, they are.
That's what they first said.
Yeah, they came up with the nickname first.
They were like, we'll revisit the name at a later date.
Right.
And it was a hard no.
Daryl told me the name of his baby before we started this podcast. I said, what is the baby's name? He told me the name, and then he told me the nickname. The nickname don't make sense without the
name.
Right. Yeah, we're going to be called the Red Faces. Like, whoa, wait a minute, sir.
So to conclude on this topic, I am now an advocate for single fathers, as I am one. And yeah, I'm pretty sure we're going to be talking about more of this type of stuff. I mean, we won't consume the whole podcast with this, but yeah, there's a lot that I didn't know. Like yesterday, I was researching because I didn't think that I had any rights as a father. So there was a part of me, there was a large part of me that was super upset and sad because I felt helpless about like, wait, I want to be involved in this kid's life and I feel like I can't be. And I feel like I don't have any, and I know I don't have any rights. And then my friend and I, we got to talking and I started doing some research. I'm like, oh, snap.
You have mad rights.
I have mad rights.
Right.
Mad rights.
Yeah, so if you a single dad out here, stay tuned. Yeah. All right. In other news of staying tuned, last topic for the day. This podcast is dedicated to Natasha McKenna. So what I want to do is I don't want to always talk about the more highlighted situations. We need to talk about all of them so that people know that these things are happening. We highlight the smaller, we highlight certain things that have happened because we can't get to them all. We can't get to them all because there's so many. But while the world is talking about the other ones, amazing. Please continue to do that. We can do our part in talking about, I don't want to say lesser ones because they're not lesser ones. They're just lesser spoken about. And so we will continue on in our conversation on the hashtag say her name. So this article is from AAPF.org. AAPF stands for the African American Policy Forum. So it's about Natasha McKenna. On February 8th, 2015, Natasha McKenna died in Fairfax County Jail after being tased 4 times with 50,000 volts while in the midst of a schizophrenic episode. The incident was captured on video, which was released in September 2015 as part of the Fairfax County Sheriff Office's announcement that those responsible for McKenna's death had been cleared of any wrongdoing. Despite the horrific footage, mainstream media and activists have paid little attention to this case. The following talking points are intended to help raise awareness and generate concern around her story. I won't read the whole thing, but I'll read some of it. Natasha McKenna had a long history of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. So this is like an issue on top of issues. Like also, Black people are not allowed. Black people aren't seen as people that have issues and mental issues. It's like we just see Black people and we just see the opposition. You know what I mean? Like we aren't multifaceted people. We aren't complicated people. We just shouldn't be doing what we shouldn't be doing. We just shouldn't be where we shouldn't be. Natasha McKenna had a long history of schizophrenia and bipolar disorder. In February 2015, she called 911 during a mental health crisis. Instead of providing her with mental health support, officers brought McKenna to Fairfax County Jail on an outstanding warrant. Police officers are not mental health professionals and often lack the skills and training necessary to handle such situations. While 6 deputies pinned McKenna to the ground and repeatedly tased her, she pleaded, "You promised you wouldn't kill me." When police are increasingly first responders to calls during mental health crises, racial stereotypes can make Black women like McKenna vulnerable to violent restraint and unreasonable force when they should be provided with support and treatment.
Wow.
We're going to end on sad notes every podcast for a long time. It just is what it is.
Yeah. So this was, you said 2008?
2015.
15.
Oh, 2015. So the crazy thing is, apparently on a better note, I guess. Better than what we feel now. Apparently, in some places, they are sending, like, if someone calls the police on a drug addict in the street, they're sending social workers out first, and then the social worker will do what they do. So even if you call 911, if somebody's naked on the side of the road and, you know what I'm saying, like shooting up or whatever, you know what I'm saying, they send a social worker to handle the situation rather than a police officer. So that's a good thing. But for the people who who did not have this opportunity to have somebody out there who might care about them a little bit more, that sucks. I got a lot of things going through my head right now. Like, I have a lot of different thoughts going through my head because I'm like, this is the same reason why they thought it was okay to be on George Floyd's back and neck like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah.
He was a little lifted, you know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's weird. Like, yeah, I got too much going through my head. Somebody else go. Yeah.
I will say that this is a large.
It was just, it's just sad. Like, I
just kind of. No, you go.
You good? No, I was gonna say that I found it very disturbing to hear that she called for help, and then the fact that they found a different reason to I guess to pain her.
Yeah,
it's like, that's not what I'm calling you for. Like, I'm just so trying to get help, and that's disheartening, man.
There's so many cases like that. Least we forget there was a young man, and there's countless cases like this where there was a young man. He stopped and he rang the doorbell and he knocked on this woman's house to ask for directions. She called the police and the police came and killed him.
Yep.
That's crazy.
See, this is why I carry my pistol all the time now. I'm gonna just say that. This is why I carry my pistol all the time now. Because I just feel like at some point it's gonna be me or you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm just like, bro, if I wasn't doing, I don't have any plans on doing nothing I ain't got no business doing.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that sucks. That's a terrible thought to hear about the whole situation that happened with it. And not to get off subject, but the whole situation that happened with the police officers that were sitting in the car and they was talking to themselves saying that we can't wait to kill all these niggas and blah, blah, blah. You know what I'm saying? It was 2 police officers sitting in a car not knowing that they were being recorded. And that came out. And I'm just like, bro, like, no. Like, I literally carry mine at all times now. Because I'm afraid that I'm not going to be able to make it home or something like that. Whether it be from police or otherwise. You know what I'm saying? Now, it's a whole thing going around in Georgia that apparently they got this thing to where KKK or whoever it is, skinheads, whatever they want to be called, they running around here saying that they're going to start killing black people. Yep. Snatching them up and hanging them. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, this is too much, bro. Like, you can't, yeah. Like, there's literally nothing we can do. And people are like, man, I hate the whole NFAC situation. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, they were responding. Does anybody know? We didn't talk about the NFAC last week.
No, it's a.
So the NFAC is Victoria, you saw them, right? Did you see the NFAC?
Oh, the Stone Mountain? Yeah.
Oh, so I did see that.
So the NFAC.
What a beautiful sight.
Right.
So Simon, did you see it? Okay. So
didn't catch it.
So the NFAC is the Not Effing Around Coalition.
That's what it's called.
That's what it stands for. The Not Effing Around Coalition.
You love it. You gotta love
it.
Oh, I've seen this.
That's us for sure.
Right. If you ain't know before, you know now.
Right. So what happened was on July 3rd, the KKK.
You know how many moms are about to use that?
Right. Right.
Boy.
Right. Straight up.
Can't wait.
Right. So on July 3rd, the KKK put out some statement or something saying that at 8:00 on 4th of July, they were going to be out shooting and killing black people.
Mm.
So at 5:00 on the 4th of July, the NFAC said, all right, cool. We know where y'all meet. We know where y'all leave from. We're going to pull up. So it was 1,500 of them and 1,000 of them had guns. And they showed up to Stone Mountain and was like, let's see how bad y'all are. We sitting out here, we ready for you. Megaphone in hand. He was talking big noise, bro. So it made me go. Was
he the HNIC of the NFAC?
He was the HNIC of the NFAC. He was the HNIC.
Official board title.
You know what I'm saying? So yeah, like they went out there and they were like, it started in Georgia. He started it in Georgia. But he was like, we're gonna be everywhere. And like, if we gotta drive all 1,000 of us, 1,500 of us gotta drive to California for a situation, we will do it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where these folks work and how they gonna get this gas money, but he's like, we gonna do it. We gonna be there.
They need to have chapters. Do they have chapters?
They should explain the chapters at this point.
Hey man.
But honestly,
this is a UFR. We got to do a deep dive on that. NFAC.
Yeah. He just wanted to say NFAC again. But no, so again, it made me go, man, like we finally have a Black Panther type organization again. Somebody who's willing to protect the Black culture, Black people. You know what I'm saying? Because we don't have that. When you have police officers sitting in cars, not knowing that they being taped, saying that they ready to go kill all these niggas. You know what I'm saying? And the crazy thing about the NFAC dude, the HNIC of the NFAC, the crazy thing about him was he was saying this isn't just for white people. Mm. He said if there are any Black people who are killing Black people, you know what I'm saying? So he was like, no, this has to end now. It's got to stop. So that's what I really appreciated about it was the fact that he was like, no, this is a Black Lives Matter towards white people and Black people. Anybody can get it. You know what I'm saying? Y'all out here trying to kill each other, then you can get it too. You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, I can appreciate that. Like this isn't a hate towards one race. This isn't a anti-race situation. It's a pro us situation. Period.
That's good.
So yeah, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Jared, for giving us a glimmer of hope at the end of this podcast. Really appreciate it. We ain't for violence, but the violent taketh by force, the Bible says.
You know what I'm saying? But we ain't for violence.
Oh, not for violence.
We NFA too.
What? Huh?
Not F Brown.
Oh, okay.
There we go. We gotta rewire our brains.
Right. Yeah.
For the new window.
We'll come back. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you guys for riding with me and talking about these things. We can build off of these topics for sure. And then, I mean, the podcast won't surround these topics, but things that we have to circle back around to for sure. So thank you, Victoria, for being here, taking time out of your busy schedule. Jared, taking time out of your busy schedule. Side one, same for you. Come back anytime, brother.
Yes, you're allowed.
Victoria.
Yeah, this is fun. It's my first podcast I've ever been on, so this is cool.
You need bring your mic next time because you said you were gonna bring your mic and you didn't.
You didn't.
When I saw you walking around, I was like, I ain't getting it.
You talking about me?
Nah.
Bro, my computer is bugging out. I'm sorry.
Oh, it's all good, man. Glad you were here, man. That's what's most important. And thank you for having great things to say, too. Victoria said you could come back, so that makes it official. She don't allow
Hey,
it.
we lit.
You don't allow
Man,
it.
whatever. She can barely come back her dang self. So
I'm sorry, who's on this podcast every week?
Victoria probably got the most appearances on this podcast.
No.
She probably does, bro.
Yes, consistency.
She probably got the most appearances. I'll let y'all go.
Y'all so bad.
It's way over past the time we said that we was gonna go. Appreciate y'all.
All right. Yeah.
Peace.
Bye.
All right.